how would you guide people to use their hidden assets? The first thing with a veteran, we think of a VA loan, but there's a lot of other uh, advantages to having served. How would you guide people if they were going to start whatever the boxes that they have? I tell people put a veteran's ribbon on it, um, to get from point A, and maybe before they get out, so that it's kind of like that colonel that I talked about. He's thinking 5 years ahead. How do you discuss this with people that you meet?
Absolutely. And this is I'm glad you asked this question because it is really what's pushed me to do what I'm doing today with some veteran support stuff. But really, truly to these vets, same exact thing. Before they get out, before they separate, they step into the civilian sector, is to really truly have the next step of their life set up and have it align with what their purpose is. And that will, I think, eliminate a lot of like the heartache and pain and just the mental back and forth, like what am I doing? Self-doubt, all of those things. But really, truly figuring out like, okay, like what are you passionate about? What is your higher purpose when you get out? What is it that you want to do? How can you continue to impact? And kind of just like figure that out. And if it's stepping into another job, a lot of most people are meant to step into another job, not be in the entrepreneur space. It really is a specific type of person, that is good for that. However, I do believe a lot of veterans are operating at their highest ability when they do form their own business or step into that space because they can truly serve in a different way, whatever that way is. They're not put in a box. They're not building somebody else's business. They're, selfless service and it's their own. And so I think that a lot of veterans, really need to sit down and define what it is, the impact they want to make before they get out. And also to delve into, like you said, like all of the resources that we have as veterans and to be able to have a good mentor, lean on people that have already experienced it, that's huge. Having, that support system. So identify those people who are going to be part of your support system before you get out. Also, just see really doing a deep dive because nobody's going to truly care about you and your future and your success as much as you. So you truly need to pour into yourself, whatever that looks like, whether that's self-care, your physical, because a lot of people get out, a lot of veterans get out too of the service and, they're not as physically fit anymore because you're not as regimented or, but, how you keep your room is how you live your life. So as long as veterans come out of the service and don't lose that, then they can carry on with the skills that they've learned while they were in and apply that to a business, continue with their life and the business and the relationships that they continue to form. But really doing a deep dive into what is out there for veterans, like what support is there, what services are there. And, I really leaned into the real estate stuff because there are just so many benefits that you can utilize. I mean, with programs, especially with entrepreneurs starting their own business, like veteran owned, entrepreneur, especially women owned entrepreneur, small businesses, grants, all types of things. So leaning into, people like you, Mac, that have all this experience and other veterans who have served and have utilized these programs. But really, in your local area, figuring out, like here in Colorado Springs, there's Mount Carmel. So it's a veterans service support center. And figuring out like where that is for where they live. And as soon as, if not, I would say before they get out, being tapped into that community and figuring out how they can support and help. And that definitely allows you to still have that camaraderie type feeling on the outside. So you don't feel like you're floating on an island, if you will.
No, it's interesting. And Mount Carmel is definitely one of the resources. Um, I've always thought groups were a dime a dozen. Everybody wants you to join and then give them your money. Not all of them provide value for what you're getting in, and you can go down the wrong path by getting associated with the wrong people. Um, our group is part of Achieve Systems. Um, I looked at them for a year. I'm a skeptic, and that is that do they want me to show up and buy somebody a beer and pay dues, or are they going to give me something that I can use? Um, and when I reviewed Achieve Systems, I saw that they were a global platform. Um, I like the fact, and even the group we have here today, none of us do the same thing. And that you're a vet, I'm a vet, Steve's a vet. Um, Michelle has a system working with many, many businesses on developing their web page so that they're presentable. I guess that's what we'd say, right, Michelle? Sally teaches about limiting beliefs. Darlene does medical stuff uh, that when I got my results back, my doctor didn't even draw my blood. He said, "This is the best report I've ever seen." And he said, "Who did this?" And and I've got a soft spot for Sonia because she has developed her passion because her uncle served, not that she served herself. And I think as a,
I did briefly. I was in the Air Force briefly.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was in
Okay.
basic training.
Oh,
Okay, so that's the interesting part. Something gets instilled in us, and that whether it's patriotism or I can be more than like the army, be all that you can be. And that I love that fact.